Hi everyone, and welcome to my video today on how to improve your line art with these simple tips and tricks. All of the things I'll cover today I have learnt through trial and error, and some things I'll suggest are my own stylistic choices and by no means the only way to line art. But as you can probably guess, I'm referring specifically today about traditional art and not digital, but honestly, most of the things I do traditionally are also used in my digital work. So let's get started. First off is a very important step, and that is to have a clean sketch. Please do not go into lining a drawing that has so many lines you don't know which to follow. You can see here my Toph sketch already looks pretty clean and could easily be seen as line art. I'll show you here my original sketch, which was first done in pink, then drawn over in lead pencil before finalizing. So technically I drew this piece 3 times before lining. This step will definitely help artists who find that their sketch tends to look better than their finished piece. This is because your sketch usually has so many lines that it's easy to find one appealing to the eye. Once you line it though, there is no room for error. Choosing one wrong sketch line as your final can throw everything off, so please save yourself some time by using a tracing pad or something to that effect to retrace your sketch cleaner and more readable. Your sketch is very easily fixable and reworkable, whereas your line art, not so much. So once you have a clean sketch, I prefer to go in using my thinnest pen, which is a size 0.03. I don't really have one particular brand to recommend, as I usually use a few, but as long as the pen says it's waterproof, it's pretty much fine for most mediums, my medium of choice being Copic markers. But when using a new brand, please always check on a spare piece of paper that it will work okay for you and your colouring needs. Some great brands I can recommend for you though are Copic Multiliners, Zig Mangaka pens, Unipen and Micron. Another important skill to build is your confidence with your pen. You need to trust each other before committing to lining, especially for big or detailed work. This trust is built through warm-ups before big drawing sessions. Some ways I warm up is by doing quick 5-minute sketches to loosen up, then doing random doodles with pen only on another page. This warms up not only my hand but my eyes. Your quote art eyes unquote are something we need to turn on when drawing. All that means is really focusing on what you're doing and critically thinking as you draw. For example, while doing this piece, I'm constantly thinking about keeping my lines crisp and how my wrist needs to move to achieve a nice curve, etc. So now I'm switching to my Micron pen, which is a dark brown, which I'll use to outline the rocks. I haven't quite finished the main line art, but I needed to add these rocks so I didn't accidentally draw over them, which I've done in the past. I find I use black outlines for the characters I draw, but any additional elements I tend to use coloured lines. This is purely a stylistic choice on my part. You of course could use different coloured lines in your whole drawing. The biggest difference is objects outlined in black or with thicker lines draw the viewer's attention first. As I want Toph to be the main piece of the drawing, I use brown on the rocks to have them blend better and be more subtle. Now with all the thin lines complete, we move on to erasing. This arguably is one of the parts that makes me the most nervous, believe it or not, because so much could go wrong. Few things to keep in mind that I learned the hard way is 1. Make sure your ink is completely dry. Nothing worse than dragging wet ink all over your page to ruin all your hard work. 2. Try and erase in one direction so your paper doesn't catch and crinkle. And 3, it sounds pretty obvious, but please use a good eraser, one that isn't going to mark your page with pencil smears that will never lift out. It might not seem like it at first, but it actually takes practice to erase well. Now we move on to adding some line weight to our drawing. Line weight just means adding some thickness in areas where lines meet or where there is shadow. When first learning line art, this might not come to you naturally, but as you practice more and study from other artists, you will begin to know what feels right with your line weight and can adjust it to suit your style. For me, I tend to swap to a 0.3 pen, so not too thick but not too thin. Even though you already have your line art down, make sure to not lose focus. It's very easy in this stage to overdraw a line too thick, throwing off the balance of the drawing. I hope you can already tell that the drawing is looking a lot more interesting and less static than before. You can see I'm adding shadows where the hair meets the face and under the chin, where lots of shadow happens. Now we come to the final stage of my line art process, and this is definitely my own style choice that I've seen other artists use that I'd like to do too. So once all the line weight has been added, I take a thicker pen, about a 0.5 or a 0.7 size, and I trace over the outside silhouette of the character. For me, I find it makes the character pop more off the page, but it can also make it look very 2D looking at times, which doesn't suit everyone, but sometimes I add it now or I do it after the colouring, which also helps hide when I've coloured out of the lines. And that's pretty much it. I hope this video helps you with your art, maybe to try something different or give some insights into how I work. I use this process maybe 90% of the time, but it's taken me years to figure it out and perfect it, so please don't be discouraged if you don't get it first try. Remember, as long as you are practicing, you will always improve, so please don't give up. And for those curious, here is the finished piece all coloured. Thank you so much for watching my video today, and if you'd like to see more from me, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm excited to make more tutorials and art tips for you all, so I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!